welcome back to Drive and Strive. Today I'm going to be working on getting this engine put back together. This is the 3.4 liter, this is in an Oldsmobile Silhouette, the 3400 SFI engine. I got the cylinder heads off in the last video, as well as all the intake manifolds and all that. I got everything cleaned now. I just sprayed the cylinders down with some WD-40. I cleaned up everything the best that I could. I got everything nice and flat. All the old RTV is off. I went ahead and cleaned up my lower intake manifold. I got all of the oil residue and everything off. It's actually upside down at the moment. I got a broken hose off, and I have the stuff to remake it. I'm going to wait until I get some of the stuff put back together so I can get it exactly where I need to put it. I'll probably go and put my new fitting on though, right here. Probably go and put my new T-fitting in there. That way it's easier for me to do everything later. So I'll do that here in just a second. I cleaned my throttle body really good. I got all my mating surfaces on my cylinder heads. This is the one that goes on the left side from the accessories, or the right side from facing the accessories. So the front, and this is the one that goes on the back. I got this one cleaned up as well. I'm not going to take the manifold off of the back of this, just because I don't think I need to. I'm just going to go ahead and replace the gasket up here. I got all my new gaskets, which the head gaskets on the 3.4 liters are interchangeable. There is not enough in a downside. I'm going to put it with the little metal supports here facing down towards the engine block, but they are interchangeable, so it doesn't matter which way you put them. I did pull out all my injectors. I am going to replace all the seals and stuff on these before I put them all back together. I'm going to clean them really good, but at the moment I have not done that. I also got my new retaining rings. These are the parts I need to rebuild that hose that tends to break. These are all the bolts that came out of that lower intake. And then I got my fuel rail, which I'm going to do a little bit more cleaning on. And my valve covers, I'm going to clean those up a little bit more. My plenum is currently inside the house because one of the bolt holes was cracked almost all the way through, and I needed to fix that, so I had to warm it up in the house to fix it. So what I'm going to start off with is the back cylinder here. Now with these you got to torque the bolts into a specific pattern, which I will show you, and they get torqued to 44 foot-pounds, and then you got to turn them an additional 95 degrees. Okay, so for this particular application, and frankly most with heads anyway, you got some longer bolts and you got some shorter bolts. This specific head takes 8 bolts total. The 4 long ones will be on the inside of the cylinder head in these 4 locations, and the 4 shorter ones will be on the outside of it. Now when I speak of outside, I mean outside of where the valve cover would be, closer towards where the manifold would be. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of oil, that's what I got in here. I'm going to put it on the threads and the shanks here of these bolts, just so adds a little bit of friction, and supposedly your torque values will be a lot closer with that reduced friction that the oil allows you to have. Yeah, so this is my torque sheet here. This will come with your either your head gaskets or your head bolts, in my case the head bolts. I can also find this online. Anyway, so this section right here, this lower part, that would be the side closest to your exhaust manifold, and this would be inside where the valve cover is, okay? So for this specific type, this is how it's sitting on the engine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the middle one, or the one on the right in the middle, on the back side first, and I'm going to come and do the middle on the closest to me on the left side, and I'm going to do the one right to the right of it. I'm going to come down diagonal and do the middle left on the closest to the exhaust manifold, and then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do the far right on the top, and then I'm going to go and do the far left on the bottom, and then the far right on the bottom, and then the far left on the top. Okay, so the pattern is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and it's sitting like this, and then it will just be flipped for the front cylinder head, and I'll show you that again when I do the front cylinder head. Okay, so here's the torque sequence again. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So, right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And don't forget, this bolt is a special one. This is the locator pin for the engine mount. Okay, and all it is flipped like that for the back one. That's all it is. Okay, I got everything torqued and agreed now. This side was definitely a lot easier than the back side. Now I'm going to work on putting the lower intake manifold back on. I already have it cleaned. I just got to put the new gaskets on, put down a bead of RTV on it, and then we can slap it on there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a nice thin layer right here, as well as here, another one there, right where it meets up. In fact, I'm probably going to pull these back just a little bit and get right where that meets up there. I'm going to put a nice thick bead all the way down there and all the way down there. That way it seals it up nicely, okay? So I'm going to bring my push rods over two at a time. So your exhaust push rods for your exhaust are going to be longer than the ones for your intake. And I had everything nicely labeled out earlier. You're going to feel them drop into a little pocket whenever they're in place. So I ended up having to pull the lower intake manifold off because while I was putting these rocker arms back in on the back, I accidentally knocked one of the push rods out of where it was supposed to be, and it fell down to where I couldn't grab a hold of it. So this time I'm just going ahead and tossing stuff in here. With these rocker arms, it's important to note that they have a little groove notched out in them right here. Okay, on both sides. You gotta line those up with cut out in the head here before you can thread them in all the way. You don't want to get crazy tight with these. I'm wanting to say it was like 8 foot-pounds is all they get torqued to. Also, keep in mind that the cylinder heads are aluminum. It's very easy to strip the holes out, the bolt holes out, strip all the threads out of them. In fact, that's actually a very common problem with these engines, is that the threads strip out of the head. In fact, my dad's van has the same engine in it, and the rocker bolts, the threads in the head have stripped out of 2 rocker arms, actually both on cylinder 1 in the back over there. The threads have stripped out of the holes on both of those rockers in the back, and have had to be repaired. And it is not a fun job to repair them. Actually, last time I repaired it, I only took what I needed to do to get the valve cover off, and it was a pain in the butt. I really probably should have ripped it down more. Anyway, keep in mind these are also wear mated. I had these sitting aside to where everything's supposed to go. Make sure your push rods are in a little ball built into the rocker arm. That way everything lines up correctly as well. And then this flatter end there, or it's kind of shiny there, that is what sits on top of the valve. You can set lash for these. However, at the moment I'm just going to get them fairly snug to kind of where it needs to be. Personally, I don't think I'm probably going to set lash to these, just because it's pretty hard to do it, especially if you want to do it running. So I got my front exhaust manifold on, as well as the heat shield. I'm getting ready to put on the collector pipe and then get underneath the car to do the back 2 bolts for the exhaust there. So I'm going to go ahead and put my engine mount bracket back on. Now this, keep in mind the bottom of this, the bottom 2 bolts, are the top 2 bolts for your AC compressor, so it's got to slide into there. And then this section right here slides into this locator, which is one of your head bolts. And then you got a bolt right there, and a bolt right there as well. So, you gotta slide this sucker. Hey everyone, it's been a hot minute since I've been able to do anything on this car. I ended up getting sick, but feeling pretty good now, so I'm gonna work on putting this all back together. So I'm gonna go and put my alternator bracket back on. Can't forget to put this little engine mount bracket on as well, or engine lift point rather. It's got 2 bolts that go in it. I'm gonna work on getting this top one here lined up and get everything in place. Alright, so I got my fuel rail on. Make sure this wire here is going underneath the fuel rail. It's not up top here. Anyway, now I have this guy here ready to go on. I ended up having to make a repair right down here. This ear was cracked on the outside here, going through this bolt hole. It's not cracked on the inside, thankfully, so I was able to just JB weld it. I got some new gaskets for the upper plenum here. They are not side specific. Just make sure the little plastic pins, locator pins, pop into the little holes. And the holes for the bolts are oriented in the right spots. Make sure everything's out of the way. So I forgot that I wasn't recording anyway. So I got my connection here. I had to find a new nut for my alternator. because I accidentally dropped the other one and I can't find it. Anyway, I got that put back on. I got a new wire put on back there. I got the ones for my coils hooked back up and the O2 sensor that's back there. I got the other side of the coils hooked up. Got EGR hooked back up. The this little sensor here, I got the wire put back on it. I got both the wires that go in the throttle body back on, and I got the vacuum hose for the brake booster put back on. I'm going to go and put the belt back on. I'm going to follow the diagram here for how that all goes back on. And then I'm going to put my little coolant bar back on here. Okay, so I got my little coolant rail thing back on here. Got everything connected and everything connected over here. Went ahead and put these spark plug wires back in the little holder right there. Got my air filter popped back in right there. So now I just got to put the air box and everything back in. So I got my throttle bracket back on. I ended up dropping another bolt, so I'm going to have to go pick up a bolt. I'll do that tomorrow. But now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my cross brace back in here. And then put my coolant reservoir back over here. And then, depending on what time it is, it's getting pretty late here. I might start draining the oil. I'm going to wait to put the battery in until tomorrow. So I'll leave everything over here disconnected as far as the battery and the cross brace and whatnot there. But I'll probably just go ahead. I'll put my cross brace here, my coolant reservoir, get it all hooked back up. Then I might go ahead and clean up my tools that I have laying on the cowl there. And then I'll just do the oil, refill the coolant, and the battery all tomorrow. So, alrighty guys, I got it all put back together. It's time to start her up now.